limitation. When you begin to consider how many months you will spend in the sea, it's enough to discourage one from, using transporting himself or the goods by water. Now, the cost of acquiring a ship is also high, so that's one limitation. And finally, we have that lack of technical know-how in ship maintenance, especially in developing countries like Nigeria. That has taken care of question 2. Now, question 3 says, explain 3 ways in which physical factors can hinder the development of road transportation. Now, one way in which physical factor can hinder this is presence of highlands, 2, presence of marshy areas, and 3, presence of many rivers. You discover that the presence of all these factors mentioned makes it cumbersome or difficult to construct roads. In places where there are many rivers, extra expenses are involved to construct bridges across these rivers. And in marshy areas, roads constructed in such areas tend to experience failure within very short period of time, and ultimately culminating in waste of resources and money, of course. And presence of highlands, like mountains, makes it very difficult for road construction. And because of that, at times, the contractors tend to divert the original routes, thus incurring more expenses. So these are all factors that hinder development of road transportation in any given area. Number 4, so give 3 reasons why air transportation may be preferred to other means of transportation. One reason is that the transportation by air is very fast. In fact, it is the fastest means of transportation. Another reason is that it is comfortable. The comfortability you get, or the comfort you get in traveling by air, it cannot be overemphasized. So that's one of the reasons why people tend to prefer transportation by air to other means of transportation. And also, it uses some direct routes, and it can reach any place provided there is a landing facility. It doesn't matter whether it is in the forest or in the sea. Transportation by air can get to those places. You have helicopters, choppers landing on in thickly forested areas. So these are some of the advantages that makes it preferred over other means of transportation. Number 5 now says mention 4 ocean routes used in world trade. One of such routes include the Panama Canal routes. Number 2, we have the North Atlantic routes. We also have what we call the Cape route, or if you like, you call it the South African route. And we have finally the South Atlantic routes. These are all international, or if you like, you can call them world routes, ocean routes used in world trade. Okay, now let's look at questions concerning industries, manufacturing industries. We have number 1. It says, list 5 factors affecting localization of industries. 5 factors which affect localization of industries. Now, that question is, in other words, asking us to mention 5 factors that influence siting of industries in a particular area. Number 1 factor is proximity to source of raw materials. There is high tendency that an industry, let me say, a fruit juice producing industry will always be sited in an area close to where the raw materials needed for the production or manufacturing of those of such fruit or such juice will always be sited in those areas. For instance, in areas where we are talking about manufacturing of products like fruit juice, you don't expect us to site the industry so far away from where we can easily access or obtain the raw materials. So that's one factor which affects the localization of industry. Number 2 factor here is nearness to markets. The cost of transporting the finished products to places where they are marketed or where they can be sold is also taken into consideration. So you need to consider how far it is to where you have ready markets, where the products you have produced are going to be sold, in order to site an industry, so that you don't run at a loss. At the end of the day, you spend several millions of nairas to transport these things to and fro, and who knows how much you're going to make at the end of the day. So putting all these things into consideration, nearness to market becomes one of the factors affecting the localization of industries in any given area. Another factor is government policies. In an area where the policy stipulated by the government does not favor production, marketing, or storage of these products, it is needless to site industries in such areas in order not to run at a loss at the end of the day. Another factor is adequate transportation network. Industries are usually sited in areas where the transportation or communication network is adequate enough to ensure easy movement of raw materials to places where they are processed, and after processing it, the finished products also are easily conveyed to places where they are distributed or sold out. So the presence of adequate transportation or communication network also is a factor affecting the localization of industries in any given area. And finally, we also have nearness to source of power. The source of power, virtually every industry needs power to power various machines and equipment used in the processing of these products. So in an area where there is no source of power, there is tendency that siting of industry there will not be ideal. Now, question 2. It says, state 5 ways in which the industrial sector has contributed to the economic development of any given country. 1 is in provision of employment. 2 is infrastructural development. 3 is manpower development. 4, we have transfer of technology. And 5, we have diversification of economy. The presence of industries in any given area, and also there is development of manpower. Question 3. Give 2 examples of local craft industries. Before you can give these examples, you must understand what local craft industries are, before you can know exactly the examples to provide. Now, local craft industries, they are industries which depend mainly on raw materials that are obtained from their immediate locality. And with this understanding, you can easily give answer to that question. Now, they also depend or make use of simple tools and require small labor force and less capital. Now, to answer the question now, we have the following examples. One, we have basket making industry, and we have mat making industry. The question requires us to answer to give just 2 examples. But other examples could be leather works and poultry making industries. These are all local craft industries. Question 4. Industries concerned with the extraction of raw materials are called dash. And we have A, cottage industry, B, primary industry, C, secondary industry. Now, the answer to that question is B, which is primary industry. Primary industries are concerned primarily with the extraction of raw material. And finally, question 5, it says, industries concerned with rendering services are called dash. We have the options A, heavy industry, B, secondary industry, C, tertiary industry. The answer here is tertiary industries. These industries render services. These are their major concern. Now, let us take some questions on GIS. We have number 1 question here is GIS. What does it mean? GIS simply means Geographic Information System. Many times you may be confused with many options: global information system, global industrialization system. But for the purpose of this very topic, we are looking at Geographic Information System. So GIS, G stands for the geographic, I for information, and S for system. Now, question 2 says, mention the components of GIS. GIS has, for a GIS to function or to work well, there are components that makes the name GIS up. Now, these components include the hardware, the software, the data, the people, and finally the methods. So these are the 5 components of GIS. Number 3, any data which possesses locational characteristics is called dash. And the options here are A, economic data, B, geographic data, C, memory data. Of course, the answer to that question, number 3 question, is B, the geographic data. Data possessing locational characteristics. Question 4 says, an example of geographic data is dash. A, we have lines of rivers. B, we have megabytes. C, we have kilobytes. Now, the correct answer to that question 4 is option A, which is lines of rivers. Finally, question 5 says, which of the following is a source of geographic data? We have the following options. A, stream. B, land survey. C, forest. An example or a source of geographic data is option B, which is land survey. So these questions are meant to test your understanding, your general understanding of the whole course, of the whole concept. So it is incumbent on you to digest them and be able to face questions comfortably in any angle or any direction it may come from. Now, geography is a subject that happens around us. So if you place emphasis on your surrounding, you'll be able to appreciate the course, you're able to appreciate the subject, geography, because it will give you a better understanding of what you have been seeing at times right from when you were small or younger, and many things around the environment you could not understand. With this course now and your attention, you'll be able to understand and to appreciate the environment in a better way. So I wish you all the best.